In studio guests this morning from Casino Free Milford, co-chairman John Seaver and Steve Treadle. Steve, you notice I gave John top billing because otherwise I'd be in some trouble.
Well, he is a former selectman.
That's right, former selectman. That's right. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Ed.
I just want to get some initial reaction. You heard the story this morning about some major changes with this casino proposal. John, your first comments.
Well, Ed, here's how I look at it. We've been hearing for months from Nunes and Butera that this is the best deal in the state. You know, this is great for Milford. It's the best deal. Now we find out Suffolk Downs and the option in Everett are far superior to the Milford deal. The Suffolk Downs, which came out yesterday, gets $52 million a year that could go up as high as $80 million a year for the city of Boston. Now, we're down at $18 million. We're a distant third compared to the other two that are competing for the Eastern casinos. So we're not the best contract. We're the worst contract.
Steve, your initial comments on this, then I'll get back to some other stuff.
Well, here we are at the 11:45th hour with a dramatic and major change in their proposal with absolutely no documentation. It's the same old stuff. Throw stuff up against the wall and see what sticks. You know, it's push it through at the last minute so the impacts to our community can't be studied by our officials and our people. Nunes had 4 years to develop a credible proposal, and here we are at the final 11th hour negotiations of the host agreement with a major expansion, no backup, no revised studies. Milford should not be cajoled into rushing into the host agreement without an entire restudy of this new expansion. Readjustment of the previous studies. You know, we can throw out all the time that our officials have spent studying the impacts and poring over the host agreement, not to mention the time that people like John and I have studied. It's a whole new ball game.
Should this host agreement be held up now?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The whole thing should be thrown out and re-looked at.
Many of the
studies revised.
Many of the town departments did gauge their reports, though, on 2 phases. This is not going to be a 2-phase. It's not going to be as big as originally proposed. It's going to be 75% of the 2 phases.
John, that's like a throwaway comment. That's a very general throwaway comment. Okay, if there's a major change in the proposal, then damn it, the whole thing should be re-looked at from scratch.
I mean, Ed, this is a last minute change here, and as Steve said, it needs to be studied thoroughly. I mean, to me, it's a Hail Mary panic by Foxwoods because they have realized now that Suffolk, the deal for Suffolk, is so much superior to the deal for Milford that they have to pull the rabbit out of their hat.
Bill Buckley asked for what he called Everett money this week at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. In essence, what I'm saying today is, and a comment from you guys, what is first of all, do you think that's a contradiction because he's opposed to the project? But he's asking for, say, $30 million versus the 18. He does not want the casino, but if the casino comes to town, maybe because of what he's proposing, needing the extra money, you'll get a bigger casino.
Yeah, he's fighting. We support what Bill Buckley has suggested. Yes, we think that
even though you could get a bigger casino,
he's not going to sign the host agreement. He's simply fighting for Milford to get more money to come back to town here. That's what he's fighting for. He's not going to sign the host agreement.
So is he fighting for a casino, do you think?
Well, he's fighting for the best terms for the town of Milford in the host agreement.
Should one come here?
Should one come here.
But you're going to get a bigger one now because of what he is asking for, because they need to generate more revenue with a bigger casino to generate more money for you. Yes,
that's the new proposal that came out within the last 12 hours. So we're evaluating it. It needs to be, as Steve said, it needs to be studied, but it's so desperate because they realize that they're so far beneath both the Everett and the Suffolk proposals that they have to really dramatically change what they're offering Milford.
Do you think Foxwoods guys underestimated the expertise the Milford selectmen have, and maybe the expertise and the opposition, and now they're just trying to backpedal?
Well, let me go back a second to
Go ahead.
to John's question or discussion here. Foxwoods proposed a two-phase, so ultimately we were going to get this. This is not a larger proposal than the whole thing that was proposed. In their own words, they say it's 75% of Phase 1 and Phase 2.
Yeah.
So eventually we're going to get the whole deal anyway.
Okay.
Okay? However, at the last minute, very inappropriate at the last minute to come in with this change, because right now we were just looking at Phase 1, and with this last minute change, we can't. No one can say that at the last minute we're going to negotiate correct terms for Milford.
Let me ask you about that. This is negotiations, what they're doing down at Town Hall. John knows as a selectman, previous selectman, that there are negotiations. Things change during negotiations. Milford has changed the money that it wants on several occasions. A comment. Why shouldn't Foxwoods be able to change their plan?
But we're not saying they shouldn't be able to change. We recognize this is a process. We understand that.
Is this a game changer for the whole process?
What we're suggesting is you need a little bit more time to study this change. That seems reasonable.
We should not rush into this host agreement until the town is adequately satisfied that the new proposal has been properly defined and they have the time to study the impacts.
What would you tell selectmen?
I would tell the selectmen to stop negotiations on the host agreement, go back, have Foxwoods go back to square one and adjust all of the studies to account for the new proposal. And then give the town plenty of time to examine all the ramifications of that.
So this means the work you guys have done is going to have to be pretty much redone as well as the work the selectmen have done.
Exactly. And we're certainly not looking forward to spending more of our personal time doing this, but we're willing to do it because this is what's important to this town.
This is going to could delay the host agreement being signed and therefore push that referendum vote further into November.
It's true, but, we're dealing with the state timeline, and Foxwoods is changing their proposal in direct response both to Buckley's demand for more money for Milford and to the fact that Suffolk Downs is such a lucrative deal compared to what we're being offered here in Milford.
Developer David Nunes had some sharp criticism of Bill Buckley this morning, saying he just doesn't get it.
Yeah, look, David Nunes, when you start name-calling in public, you know that they're desperate. And if this starts to deteriorate in name-calling back and forth, you can point to David Nunes' comments today, calling Chairman Buckley close-minded. Just because he disagrees with Nunes, he's close-minded. Well, so if you agree with Nunes, you're open-minded? It's a contradiction.
I just find it unacceptable for an out-of-town developer to come into our town and take personal shots at our public officials. And I hope Milford residents see this for what it is. It's an attack on Chairman Buckley for his stand that Milford is entitled to at least the same magnitude of mitigation that Everett and Suffolk Downs are being offered.
You guys have a couple of important events coming up in the next couple of months. Tell me about those.
Yes, well, on September 18th at 7 p.m., we have a casino-free Milford rally where we're, opening it up to anybody that wants to come. We've got State Representative John Fernandez who's going to speak. We have Robert Steele, who wrote a book on casinos. He's going to speak, and it's sort of just opening it up. People that want to get involved, come on. We're going to have some pizza. We're going to have some fun. So it's at the St. Mary's Parish Center at 7 p.m. Wednesday, September 18th.
And in October, another meeting?
In October, we are going to have a very large citizens forum open to everybody in town, people who are in support of the casino, people who are opposed to having the casino, and it's a citizens forum. Finally, the citizens get to speak their mind. Okay, and we're going to have some illustrious speakers there that are going to set the scene, and after that we're going to have the public participation in a truly democratic manner, not a sales pitch.
As guys who have followed this now for months, when you heard the proposal, the change in the proposal this morning, your initial reaction, John?
My initial reaction is it's a last minute desperate response to being a terrible agreement compared to the other two competitors in Eastern Massachusetts.
Steve?
Yeah. My response is, it's really time to take a stand against this inept, ill-prepared developer with woefully inadequate finances trying to keep up with his competitors.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Our guests this morning, Casino Free Milford co-chairman Steve Treadle and John Seaver. This has been Daybreak News. Ed Thompson.